And I learned that as a woman, if you want to make six figures easily, you're going to have to suit up and get out there in that field with them men. One lady said she was able to go to the car lot, pay her car off cash. And then one lady said she's just going to do this for a little bit, get that money, flip into a business. I love that for y'all women. We doing it. We out here doing the dang old thing.
Women can't do what men do. And that is still a statement many people make in 2026. But after seeing these women working blue-collar jobs all across America, I think many would say otherwise. And I'm talking anything from construction sites, welding, plumbing, electricians. These women are actually proving that perhaps skill, not gender, determines who really gets the job done. And some of the money they're making might make a lot of you watching consider your entire career path.
Let's make 2,000 in 2 hours.
Me as a self-contracted welder to go do some work in downtown Austin.
All right, so y'all heard she's a welder and she says she's going to work. $2,000 in 2 hours? Okay, so she's saying here she's fixing 3 sections that are rotted out. All right, safety first, putting on the glasses. Okay, but girl, that stuff a little close to your eye, ain't it? They supposed to have a little shield thing, I thought. Oh, there it is, that thing. Girl, you was scaring me for a minute. Thank you. OSHA ain't watching it, was they? Anywho. And you know, I'm glad to see her doing her thing though, even though she had me a little bit worried about her eyeballs. Know what I also noticed is that there's another woman in here working with her too. And I just love to see it, honestly. I do. And I got love for everybody, but just seeing women in industries that you're like, we probably wouldn't think you would be there. To me, it's empowering. I want to know what y'all think, but somebody here said, not gonna lie, my cousin makes $200 an hour. I went into the wrong business, not gonna lie. Is there any welders that are watching this? I don't even care what you are, man or woman. Comment, how much are y'all making? Because she said she made $2,000 in 2 hours. What is going on? Even $200 in an hour? Goodness. And ma'am, they eating you up in the comments. They said no face shield while grinding is crazy. I have to agree. And I hate that we even have to talk about that because I'm trying to lift us up right now. But ma'am, OSHA watching you, they finna give y'all strikes. Because your hair can catch on fire. It can. Others in the comments saying, listen, y'all, fast money goes by fast. And she said, not if you're smart with it.
A trade that most women do not think about and that does not require a college degree is home inspection. Home inspectors can do anything you can imagine when it comes to properties. They can inspect residential properties, commercial properties, hotels, motels. Also, they don't just have to work in real estate transactions. So I'm a broker. I use home inspectors on every single buy side that I have a client on. But the home inspector that I use most often actually retired as the hotel motel inspector for the state of Florida. What does that mean? So he actually worked for the state and he went to hotels and motels and made sure that they were up to code. And when he ended up retiring from that, he started his own home inspection business and used his skills to do residential home inspections. Now, residential home inspections are not cheap. They usually start around $400. Commercial are typically even more expensive, starting around $500 to $600.
What's crazy is $500 is how much I personally paid and remember paying for a home inspection. So that sounds about right. And in case y'all are wondering, why might that be helpful to get a home inspection? If you're buying a house, if you're building a house, you could even do a home inspection if you're just trying to lease a house because you want to make sure the conditions are up to par before you move in, or to inspect your own property before you move somebody into your property. Just FYI.
So if you are doing this working for another company, obviously you're not going to get the full amount, but if you start your own business, you can easily knock out 2 of those in a day.
And I actually think it's genius to go into this trade. What's interesting about this is the comments. The first one says, my sister-in-law became a home inspector, and you're right, she makes good money, but keep in mind, you are going in these homes alone all times of the day. You also need to have a license to carry. Be safe. Now, when I had my home inspection, I was at the house. I don't know if that's always the case, but it might be. Make sure you're doing your research if it is something that you're interested in, but it definitely pays well. Here we go again. Someone else in the comments. And the comments are gold mine, y'all. It says here, hey ladies, welding is the same. It's not always fun, but it's good money. And then they said, and I can't confirm nor deny, y'all usually weld better than us men. Is you a man? That's a Derek. That's a man's. Derek's a man's. He said it, not me. I don't need the men brigade beating me up. Then he said, and the guys around you will typically love and defend you, and you'll become the crew's little/big sister if you're cool. Can't confirm nor deny, but you ain't even got to go to do all that. You can just go to get money and go home. That is okay too. You ain't got to be part of the crew. This ain't, oh, they loving the crew. It's okay. You can be an individual. And then y'all in here talking about, I'm scared of roof and crawl spaces. Are you scared of being broke? Just too early. And she's not the only one. Another one said the same thing right here. I'm not crawling into the attic. And y'all, this one right here is interesting. It says, hey, I'm a female and I'm a termite inspector. That's the one too. Let me actually look it up. Let me Google. Cause we're on to something right here. Y'all, I went to glassdoor.com and I'm not exactly sure how accurate it is in 2026, but it says here, how much does a termite inspector make? Total pay range, $119,000 to $205K per year. I need y'all to chime in the comments. Lord have mercy. Really? And the median pay being $154,000. But as you can see here, they have base pay at $74,000 to $123,000, and additional pay ranging anywhere between $44,000 and $82,000 per year. My. And what's getting me is this comment right here says, you have to take classes, pass a test, get a license. My husband's an inspector, so I know what has to be done. It's not like you can walk in somewhere and fill out an application. Please do some research, y'all. I'm glad she replied with yes, just like with any trade, almost like with any job. There's usually some sort of barrier to entry, and that's okay, y'all. Like this right here ain't nothing crazy to say you have to take a class, pass a test, and get a license. That's just part of the process. Because if everybody could just walk in and make $200 an hour or $2,000 an hour in some of these trades, they would. You need to be qualified. I say that respectfully. You don't want anybody just doing any old thing. You need to be qualified. But don't think because you hear, oh, you have to take a test or you have to go take a class, that it's like, oh my gosh, I have to do work. It's like, that's just a requirement sometimes in the thing that you're trying to achieve. And I need to talk about this because there are so many people that I know personally that have not pursued certain jobs or opportunities that they would be great at. You want to know why? Because they don't like to take tests. They don't want to complete a certification. And it's like, I'm just saying, don't count yourself out before you've even tried. Just because you hear you have to pass, that actually just makes me kind of sad because it's like unused potential a lot of the time. And then they said home appraisals too.
Week 3, becoming a blue-collar millionaire. So last video, y'all saw me assembling windows. In this video, I'm installing the windows. I start out measuring the dimensions on the container and then using a plasma gun to cut out the metal. Then I fit the window frame and I have to grind off any excess metal so that it sits securely. Once the window is fit, leveled, and flush to the container, I go ahead and tack it. And then I get to welding.
Y'all, she's a welder too. I'm noticing either in the comments or we just seen another female welder. Welding might be where the bag is at. It might be based off of those numbers I heard.
Would you take a look at them welds, baby? They clean. I don't care what y'all got to say. My welds is hitting, period.
And the reason why I really want to show these videos is you really never know who you are inspiring, because as I go to the comments where women are showing their blue collar work or the work they're doing in order to gain a large amount of money in industries that a lot of people might not think they would be in, when I go to the comments, you know, there are so many people watching. Even this person here is like, help me. And she's like, with what? Essentially. And the person replies with getting a job like this, like legit tips and things like that.
Changed my life in 8 months just because I got an electrical trade. 8 months ago, I was working in real estate, but now I am working in the engineering field, robotic surgical to be exact. I also just negotiated and declined a $100,000 offer letter.
Now I want to know how many of y'all would do that. Like, and this is just by herself, $100,000. It's a blessing to make $100,000 in one household, but by yourself, man.
All because I decided to get in the electrical trade, specifically in the EVSE field, working with solar energy and working with electrical vehicles. I've gotten NFPA 70E certification, OSHA 10 certification, Arc Black certification, CETA certification, which is a certified electronic technician for certification, and I've gotten published in an article. Also, I'm getting published in another article because I got in the trades. Now I've enrolled back into university in the electrical engineering program at Arizona State University. So if this video doesn't convince you to get in the trades, I don't know what else can. Girls, get in the trades. The men are making the money.
Y'all, I think this video gonna make somebody a believer down in the comments. I need y'all to comment if it is. The girls is really making money in the trades. I'm not mad at it. Does money discriminate? You know, like, we can make it too. I really love to see stuff like this. And she has all of these certifications. She's in articles, turning down $100,000. Whew, the success you must have to confidently do that, you know? You just never know who you're motivating when you're showing this is what you're doing. And I love to see it. All right, so I was interested to see somebody that's in the world of HVAC technician, and I came across this video, and this lady is 19 years old.
Spend the day with me as a 19-year-old up-and-coming HVAC technician who's just trying to get her life together, who recently bought an old rinky-dink car that has problems, and I don't have my license yet, neither is it registered. So yes, we still on the bus. Because y'all know I'm trying to do everything by the book. Today was a lab day, so you know I get straight to it. Y'all know I absolutely love to braze, so we're going to be brazing in these copper lines for this refrigeration cycle. And since this is a very small setup, we have to do a whole bunch of crimping and bimping on this. My instructor always tell me measure twice, bend once.
And I think right now she's taking a break to go get something, but now she's back to it. And as you can see, she's still doing her HVAC stuff. And girl, what is this? Like, the HVAC people, y'all can get me up to speed. What is all this?
In the refrigeration cycle, you still need a filter dryer, a TXV, and a bulb. But in order to add those to the copper line, you have to use a flaring tool and flare the inside of the copper, which is basically widening it. To work.
This sounds like a bunch of gibberish to me, but I'm locked in and I'm proud of you. Because, girl, what am I looking at? If my HVAC go out, I'll be out of luck.
It looks kind of like a trumpet. Sadly, we didn't get the braids, but we got our line set ready, and early Wednesday morning, we'll be ready to braid. That's all I did today. Make sure y'all stay tuned if y'all want to see more HVAC content.
I don't know what I'm looking at, but I'm impressed. And I'm happy to see y'all out here doing stuff that I don't understand. And that's the beauty in it, y'all. At some point, she didn't know either, but we can learn. Okay, HVAC technician versus what? The job. Oh, y'all, where is she at? Oh my gosh, she in the attic. Y'all, she's showing the job that she's doing, and I kid you not, one time I had a lizard stuck in my HVAC system, and that thing cost me like $400, maybe more. It was probably more like $6. And you wanna know what happened? The guy was so fascinated by the fact it was just a lizard stuck in a fan that he just was like, well, I'll just not even charge you for it. I say that to say, it is a very necessary job, because I remember them days. It was hot, it was so hot in the middle of the summer. And do you know what that's like to be in the middle of summer with no AC, no fan, no nothing? Miserable. These are important jobs for that very reason. People have children in their house, cranky wives, cranky husband. It doesn't matter. People don't like to be hot. That's why I think this is a great job for anybody. Someone here is saying they graduate in May and feel they'd rather do commercial HVAC. What's interesting is there's somebody here showing what that might look like. They're saying come to commercial/industrial. It's more spacious and no attics. Okay, this is why I say y'all gotta go to the comments, because some of y'all would have counted yourselves out because you're like, I don't like attics. Allegedly, and I can't confirm nor deny, but do your own research. Perhaps you might not have to deal with that if you go this route, because this is what it's looking like. This look very organized. What is this? Is this like at the bottom of a building? Y'all gotta let me know. I'm not hip to the game, but this does look more spacious for a lot of you who are like, I'm claustrophobic. I get it. We all got fears. Interestingly enough, the creator of this post said this is the goal for her to get into this. And because y'all are in the comments, a bunch of women, my fear of bugs and rodents wouldn't let me do that job, and I understand. But she said, yeah, and you will encounter them. I don't think she's lying. I believe her. And there's some of y'all saying, is this a sign? It might be. And someone here is saying, go up, sis. It's more than just nursing for women. Thanks for showing that. And that's what I really wanted to articulate and show you all here is there's nothing wrong with nursing. However, maybe that's not what you want to do. Maybe you just want to know what your options are. And you got a lot of them, but a lot of the times we don't even think of these sort of jobs as something that we can do. But from what I'm seeing, that's just not the case. It's just not. And some of y'all in the comments talk about, do you have to do the heights? They said that's their only reason for hesitation to start. But she was like, yeah, you got to do the heights eventually. I'm only reading some of these because I know a lot of y'all got some of the same questions. And it's a legit question. Okay, so it says here, top 5 construction jobs for women, no degree, 60K and up. Let me see, because I'm interested. She just posted this recently. They said a project manager, do your own research, y'all, is $75,000 to $125,000. And it says here, you run entire construction projects, manages budgets, timelines, crews, high authority, high income. Interesting. And I know a lot of people have project manager jobs. Might be something to look into. What else we got? Project coordinator or an assistant project manager. $55,000 to $75K, handles the documents, scheduling, communication, works closely with project managers. Less stressful, but still high value. That's in comparison to being a project manager. Allegedly. An estimator. What's an estimator? Calculates job costs before projects start, reviews blueprints and pricing. A safety manager / coordinator. $60,000 to $100,000, ensures job site safety, OSHA focused role. That's what I was thinking when I was talking about the girl doing the welding earlier and how them sparks was flying and her hair was down and how I was saying your hair can catch on fire. OSHA would be like the equivalent to a safety manager. And you know they'll come, like OSHA will come to places of employment and find companies if they are in violation. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. You have to be within accordance with their guidance or else. Okay, she also said construction operations / service coordinators, $50,000 to $70,000. These are people who dispatch and follow through and do customer communication, keeps jobs moving and profitable. Now I'm only saying all these things so y'all can go look into them because you don't know what information you don't know.
Danny here. We're doing a little mini series on how women can get into the trades. And I want to first talk about apprenticeship. Anybody can go get an apprentice card. Just go to the DLR website, tell them what trade you're getting into, and get your card. Now, I recommend trying to get in touch with a company that's going to hire you as an apprentice so you can start getting calculations on your hours. Once you have your hours, then that's when you can go get your journeyman's license. But getting that apprenticeship card is going to be the very first step in starting your process. I hope this helps.
And it does. And I think just for those of you who might not even understand what an apprentice is, according to the U.S. Department of Labor, it says here apprenticeships combined paid on-the-job training with classroom instruction to prepare workers for highly skilled careers. For example, say maybe you wanted to get into plumbing. You would be essentially learning on the job, following somebody who has the knowledge already in this field. And a lot of the time when you're trying to get into certain careers, you have to have so many amount of hours that you've been training in that trade or skill, which is why a lot of people look to be an apprentice. And many times you're still getting paid. Now it goes on to say that workers benefit from apprenticeships by receiving skills-based education that prepares them for good paying jobs. But it continues to say apprenticeship programs help employers recruit, build, and retain a highly skilled workforce, meaning that essentially if you do an apprenticeship with a company, they already can kind of get a feel for how you work with the team and everybody. They know how well you know the job because they essentially trained you. And a lot of these people like to train you a specific way to stay with that company. And I want to point that out because perhaps there is a company you have in mind that you actually want to work with. That's why in that video, she's saying, hey, maybe you want to get with one that you might want to stay with. It just makes sense because you can get out of an apprenticeship and go work somewhere else because you've learned the trade. But more than likely, the people who trained you up would likely keep you, right? As long as you built a good rapport, which is also important. Just some things to think about, y'all. So maybe be selective about where you're going to do those hours. Might be easier to land a job. And the first comment here says, women plumber in Oklahoma, owned by own company, Women Trades is where it's at. I can't confirm nor deny, but it's looking good.
You're wearing makeup.
So are you.
But you're a man.
I fear that this is what some people might be feeling watching this video. Like, oh my gosh, there are actually women that are welding. They're not all men. what's so interesting about this, there's women in here saying they'd be so surprised. LOL. She said she's been certified SMAW welder since she was 19. I don't even know what all these letters mean, but it's fancy. I like it. Whenever I hear letters before or after somebody's name, I'm like, yeah, you got credentials. What's interesting is the multiple comments saying things like this: need more women in welding. The attention to detail and patience to get it done is impeccable. That's not the first comment we've been hearing about people saying that the women are killing it in this industry, y'all. They're doing a good job. The craftsmanship is there. And no lie, like, she could have been a model, but she's welding, and that's perfectly fine, y'all. You can have beauty and be skilled in other areas. It's okay. I know a lot of y'all are like, I'm beautiful, I just gotta. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You can be beautiful and be a plumber. It's true. I know a lot of y'all don't want to. It don't make sense. What? Just because you want to. Because you can. You have the free will. And as you can see, there's a lot of very beautiful women in these videos, and it should show you that. It really should. Actually, this woman right here said she's an HVAC technician. Said they don't look like an HVAC technician, and she's like, yeah, that's the point. She said that's why she does what she does. And that's okay. Y'all see her in the crawl space, in the attic, in the basement, wherever she is. She's running it up. She hoodied up right now. You would have never known. And you know what? I love the diversity. I'm here for it. Now, as you all can see on the screen, we have here an article from Business Insider. And it says here, elevator mechanics can make over $150,000. And this CEO says they can't hire them fast enough. And the reason I thought that this was so useful to many of you is because I read these articles almost every day. This was recently posted May 17th, 2026. This is a very recent article, but the woman that I just showed above, who in this article is named as Judy Marks, is the CEO of elevator giant Otis and oversees roughly 72,000 employees, according to this Business Insider article. But it goes on to say that includes about 45,000 mechanics, and she says that the company can't hire them fast enough. Reason I wanted to point that out is I don't know where this company is, but this company said they hiring. They said they hiring people who work on elevators and can't hire them fast enough. If I was even in this field, I'm like, hey, let me stalk you a little bit. Where you at? And be honest. Well, no, I don't mean it like that. I don't want anybody to take the wrong. I mean for a job. I mean, like, look where the job is. See if you can get in where you fit in. Now, they go on to tell Business Insider the demand is high. Y'all, the stuff is right here in the article. Now, speaking of this type of job, I don't even know what something like this would look like, because honestly, I don't know of too many people or even women that have this sort of job. But on the screen it says, come with me to an elevator shutdown.
Come with me to an elevator shutdown. Although I rant about not liking my job, I am very grateful for my job. Many people have asked me how I got into this line of work. As always, I am as truthful and as transparent as I know how to be. I had my oldest daughter when I was 19 years old. I was still living at home, and my mom was still providing for me, and I did not have any source of income. So when this opportunity came to me, I jumped on it. Of course, I had my doubts because I never thought that I would be fixing elevators. That just was not in my plan, but it also wasn't in my plan to be a teen mom. So I had to do what I had to do. Thankfully, I had people around me that reassured me that this was not just a job, it's a career, and it definitely provides the lifestyle that I've always saw with my family. And being so young, I don't know what route I would have taken if it wasn't this one. I didn't take the college route. I didn't give myself time to know what it was that I wanted to do. So while I don't like my job, I am forever grateful. And I do suggest that if college is not your thing, go to trade school. That's where the money's at.
And interestingly enough, even though, as I stated, this job has a lot of earning potential, this is real. Like, a lot of people don't like their job. Do I think a lot of people that go into trades love the trades? No, I think a lot of them might like what knowing how to do the trades gets them, how it's able to set them up in life, you know? And I'm like, many people don't like the jobs that they have normally, let alone if it's a blue collar type of a job. So I'm like, you might as well get paid if you ain't gonna like the job anyway, right? And that's any job, but it's definitely a plus if you do like the job. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but this job was able to provide her with the lifestyle she was looking for, and that's a blessing. And I do think it's important to show even people that don't like their jobs, because that's real. Now, there's people in the comments saying that they definitely should have went to trade school. She's saying it's a great start for younger people, so spread the word when you can. Others are saying, jackpot, love this content, we want more. And trade school is definitely a gem. Now, while the last lady doesn't necessarily like doing the elevator mechanic work, this woman here is in the same exact field, and it says here on the screen, what's your favorite part about your job? And she goes on to say all of it. Now, the reason I wanted to show that is because, look, her legs was kicked up. Girl, your legs kicked up at work like that on the clock. But some people will love something that you dislike, and that is okay. The reason why I wanted to show two different sides is that's the reality, y'all. Some of y'all would flourish and love certain jobs while others of you may hate it. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Look, and there's people saying they wish they got into being a elevator mechanic or technician. And then people are saying, is it good money to start off? I just gave you what it said in that Business Insider article. Now, I can't confirm nor deny, but this comment says, do you make good money starting off? Now, I already kind of told you guys what that Business Insider article was looking like, but somebody here replied with, in Ontario, I probably said that wrong, don't care, we starting at $30 an hour. Others saying best trade there is. I'm on year 10. They said in Cali, they start off making $35 an hour. Not sure, but they said they started when they were 28 and kept going till 70. Goodness. And then I didn't want to leave the plumbers out. This is a 24-year-old plumber in Dallas, and she said she just got paid $5,200 this month. Honestly, at 24, I think that's pretty dang good. I do. I think that's really good. I wasn't making that much at 24. And y'all tell me, how much was y'all making at 24? But she's a plumber. She's out there doing the things. You see her out there? But I need to know what y'all think about this down below. Does this make you think about blue collar jobs a little bit different? Were there any jobs specifically that you were like, I might have to do some more research into that one? Or do you think women don't belong in any of these fields, and how dare they get any of these jobs and work with them men? Because you know, if you want to fight about it, what to do in the comments. But we got to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.